Another day in another practice officially in the books for the Denver Broncos, but this one was a little bit different. We got to see the pads on for the first time in Denver with the Broncos, and we got to see Bo Nix taking more starting reps, Troy Franklin starting to find a little bit of a rhythm, a connection, some rapport with some of the other quarterbacks. We're going to break down everything you need to know in this video, but before we jump in, like we always do, can we give a massive shout out, and please do me a favor, follow all of the Broncos media members on on X, I guess you could say. They do such a good job posting highlights and news and notes from every day's practice, and without them, these videos are not possible to make. So do me a favor, go follow them right now. I guarantee you will not regret it. Now, with that being said, let's kind of dive into the video and talk about today's practice. Now, the first team period in pads, Bo Nix was a little bit inconsistent at first, and actually Stidham came in and had some really good throws, and one to Troy Franklin, who you've seen Troy Franklin play with a bunch of different quarterbacks, which, you know, is good, right? Building the chemistry, the rapport with Zach Wilson and Stidham and Bo Nix. That way, once the season comes, you'll have rapport with all of these guys. And today, him and Stidham had a really nice throw, a really nice catch, and they're definitely starting to build that rapport right now. But the main takeaway from today was the defense is scary. And even last year, you saw the signs, you saw the writing on the wall that this defense had the making of becoming really, really good, and just with a little bit of development. And I feel like that development is really starting to show. Now, let's actually get back to Troy Franklin. There is a couple of more things to talk about here. So, he had another catch during 7-on-7s where he had a beautiful touchdown. And then he had one on Saturday as well with Jarrett Stidham. So you could tell their rapport specifically is something that is growing. It is showing, and honestly, I kind of like it. Now, I don't know who's the starting quarterback is going to be day one. Let me know in the comments down below. I remember asking this a couple of videos ago, and a lot of people did say Bo Nix, but I do think that potentially this coaching staff is going to ease it in with Bo Nix, pause. But I think Jarrett Stidham could just take a load off, take the weight off of Bo Nix's shoulders to at least start the season, ease him into things, and ramp him up going forward. I know Jarrett Stidham isn't by any means a leader or okay, not a leader, but a veteran mentor, right? I guess you could say. So I do think that Jarrett Stidham is someone that could just ease Bo Nix's life a little bit more as we start the season, not just throw him into the mix right away. Now, the first play of team period, Baron Browning had an absolute monster of a play, got into the backfield right away and destroyed a run, had a nice little TFL there. Him and Jonathan Cooper alongside Nick Bonito, who's now practicing, and Jonah Ellis. Dude, I love their edge rushers here, and they're only going to get better from here. Now, Bo Nix came back onto the field. Now, he did have a scramble where he got up the field and had a big-time play. The one thing that stood out to a bunch of reporters, including Zach Stevens, was his speed, the athleticism, the elusiveness to just get up the field and go, right? The speed is something that stood out to them. So want to, make sure you guys know that. Bo Nix is a little bit quicker than some people may think with the pads on. The defense was very dominant. Like we said, they were getting so much pressure, forcing the quarterback to get the ball out so much in today's practice, and a bunch of contested passes with good coverage and a lot of balls hitting the ground, which is maybe not something you want to see if you're an offensive minded guy, but defensively, this has the making of being one of the top defenses potentially in the NFL next year, or this year, I guess you could say. And man, I'm excited for the defense. Now, before we get any further into the video, guys, do me a big favor. There's two more players that we're going to deep dive into in a second, but hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free. It doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering Broncos country for a long time, all off season, right? All throughout training camp, every single practice, but more importantly, preseason football games. Going to be breaking down film, going to be watching the games on my Twitch. You'll find the link in the description if you want to follow there. And also regular season games as well, breaking down film from games defensively, offensively, everything. We got you guys covered, so join the family if you haven't already done so. With that being said, let's get back into the video. Now, two guys along the defensive line, outside of the edge rushers who have looked really good, DJ Jones and Zach Allen. These are your day one starters, right? Alongside probably John Franklin Myers, or I would assume, right? So your 3-4 defense right now is looking insanely good, right? Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and John Franklin Myers making big time plays almost every single opportunity they have. They're either, stopping the run, they're generating a little bit of pressure, forcing that ball out a little bit sooner. And whenever you can get pressure on a quarterback, you can create 1 of 5 different things: a bad throw, a bad decision, an interception, a forced fumble, a sack, right? So I feel like this defensive front seven is going to be game changing for the Broncos. And then you just add the edge rushers alongside them. Dude, I can't wait to see them in a regular season action. But when the Broncos started the team period with running, the defense dominated. Baron Browning had a TFL. Zach Allen had a TFL. Javonte Williams did have one really nice run. Probably like a 15-20 yard gain. But other than that, you could just see the making of this the defensive line really coming up here and making some big time plays. Ben Powers was a guy who kind of got dominated a little bit throughout the first team period, but that's okay. We had a really nice pass, Zach Wilson to Greg Dulcich for 20 yards down the field or down the sideline. That was good to see. Greg Dulcich really gaining some confidence, according to Sean Payton, a guy who, knows he's good, but needs to bring that mentality onto the football field and let it translate in game. So I'm excited to see his progression going forward. Again, I think all quarterbacks have shown something. Bo Nix's versatility, being able to get outside the pocket, extend plays with his legs, but more importantly, use the legs to get some yardage, right? So that could be really good on third downs. Jarrett Stidham's accuracy has been, something that stood out to me. The connection that he has built with some of the receivers on this team, especially Troy Franklin. That's nice to see. It had that 15-yard completion to him today. Zach Wilson making some good plays. Had the one to Greg Dulcich. Could have been an interception. Again, I think Zach Wilson maybe is a little bit risky at times, a little bit too risky at times. But other than that, I think he does make some good throws here and there. And again, I would say Bo Nix probably didn't have the best practice. Struggled a little bit, but the defense, I sit here and I say that, but at the same time, I understand this defense is not like any other defense. They're better. They're coached well. They get to the quarterback. They have great pass rushers, and then you have one of the best, if not the best, defensive back in Pat Surtain. You bring in a Brandon Jones. You still have Jaquan McMillan, Levi Wallace, PJ Locke, and then you got Chris Abrams-Drain, who kind of stood out in practice today to a bunch of guys. He broke up one of Stidham's passes to Cortland Sutton, so he's been getting some first-team reps. I'm excited about the Denver Broncos, man. I know they have a long way to go, but potential-wise, I see what they're trying to do. Defensively, they look good. Offensively, they got things to iron out, but might be a couple more seasons, and they'll be really, really scary. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next Broncos update. Peace.